And we are live. Welcome back to another episode of the Mecca of Banter podcast. And let me just start off by saying, boy, is it good to have the Premier League back. My weekends have meaning now. Every time I wake up on a Saturday or Sunday, besides international break, there's some bit of footy on, and it makes my day that much better. And I, of course, love getting on here on Mondays and chatting with the Mecca about it because it is a fun time. But we got a special one. It's just another duo episode. It's me and the
It's
young
always us.
Mr. Hoover. I know. It's always
You
us
and I
two.
get a lot of duos in.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think we're
I,
a dynamic duo. I think we do a great job.
oh
And
yeah, I'll.
and honestly, I was thinking about it. We're gonna obviously we got a lot to talk about this episode, but one of the things we're gonna talk about is Champions Leagues. And like our teams are both in it. Like if any of the United boys were here, like we would have to wait for them. They could talk about Europa League. Like we could all Champions League, brother. Look at that.
Oh, they're not talking about any other league, brother. They're
Yeah.
not in.
What am I on?
They're not in nothing. Catching strays. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up? Andy Hoover here, young Yed. It finally happened. It was inevitable. It was going to happen at some point, but it finally happened. I picked up a pretty brutal Sunday League men's injury, solely at my own fault. There's just simply no way around it. It was 100% preventable. 100-degree heat on the turf, minimal stretching.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Played
just
in the
gotta warm
past
up
that
a little bit more.
I usually do. To be fair, I usually am pretty. I get a good couple minutes in. It was so hot, dude. I didn't do it this time, and I also overhit a ball that really didn't have to be played at all. And dude, that hamstring went clean off the bone. So, in honor of my goat, Mickey Van de Ven, I completely pulled my hamstring off the bone.
Oh,
So, 29 years old. It only took 29 years for me to get a real injury. To be totally honest, I didn't miss many games when I played. So, it sucks. We're going to bounce
getting old.
back. We're getting old, dude. There's just no way around it. We're going to bounce back, though. My football team's won, which is like, that may be more important than my, non-professional hamstrings. So
And that Sunday league, we got that dub as well.
we
So
still got that dub. And the ball that I miskicked ended up being an assist. And I was playing pretty well before that. So,
I agree.
we're gonna take our we'll take our medicine on this one. We may be out the rest of the session, but I'm gonna come back stronger and my hamstrings are gonna be better. So can't hold me down.
And we're still gonna go out there and we're gonna get injured again. That's just how the
It's
cycle
gonna happen.
goes.
We just love the sport.
Loving this beautiful game goes. But you will
That's
be
it.
missed on the field on Sundays. But the Mecca boys did get the dub this weekend.
That's what matters.
Shout out them. It was a hot one. You were spot on. Boy, was it a hot one.
Dude, that sucked.
Yeah. Crazy. Another St. Louis team that got a dub that we can talk about that I'm actually surprised that I even got to say that in a sentence of late. St. Louis City pulling out a victory, 2-0 against Montreal. Obviously, I don't think me or you watched this that closely or as intently as we would have liked, but I definitely did watch the highlights. It also just feels good to get on the win sheet and see 3 points. I also thought it was funny. Our reaction to the win, like our social media and everything, it almost felt like we won like a playoff game. Like everyone was posting locker picks, and I was like, "All right, guys, it's just a normal win. Let's act like we've been here before." So I thought that was quite interesting. I also saw in the highlights that Klauss had a great game. Also I think he had an assist as well. So good to see him involved in getting something to show for his attributes, because he always, I feel like, gets picked on for not having goals and assists when he provides a big impact to our team. So it's nice to see him when he gets some points.
Yeah, man. I think I'm not gonna get all mad about the locker room picks. I think when you have 25 points through 30 games, you win a road game and keep a clean sheet. I think everyone gets to
I
have a
wasn't
little bit
mad.
of
I
fun.
just thought it was interesting. Thought it was quite interesting that we were doing that.
Yeah, distance ourselves a little bit from the wooden spoon, and now we're only 2 spots outside of Kansas City. So really, that's what we should be playing for at this point. I want to finish above them. That'd be great.
That's all that matters.
The game itself, I mean, Montreal's terrible. They're the last place team on the other side of the conference table, and I think anytime you go like away from home in MLS to specifically and get a 2-0 win and a clean sheet, I feel like you got to feel pretty good. Not something that we have talked about much even in the first season, but really I think it's good for the guys like Klauss, who I want here next year. I think there's a couple things that you can maybe ideally build on or like to see. I know some of the young kids came in. My big one on this was that I tweeted it last week after we drew 1-1 and we were a man advantage for 80 minutes or 75 minutes or whatever it was. I really hope we keep Wallem. I think Conrad Wallem is probably one of our best players of the year on loan from Slavia Praha. I think he's super malleable and can play in a lot of different positions. And
Very versatile. Yep.
I definitely don't know where his best position is, and I don't really know. Like, I don't know if he knows. He's been used in a 6. He's been used as a winger. He's been used as a left back. Like, it's all over the place. But I think that's a super important player to have like in a squad, who especially now are about to go through a fat rebuild. Like, if you could lock him down and his ability to adjust and play where he's needed and play moderately and get a good shift outside of his main positions, that's a guy you need in a rebuild. I definitely would love to see him stay, but never fall in love with a lone player. There's a hard chance. I think he's had a productive season of a bad season, and he can probably take that back to Europe with him, and it might translate. But that's going to be a big one for me. We've talked roster construction plenty, so I don't really want to dive into it more. But the last couple of weeks, it's like his mentality, his interview after the previous game when we were man advantage, I don't know who we played. His interview after was great. It was so good. It was so direct. It was so pointed. There were no excuses to be had. Love those types of guys. We all do. I think we're all very much so, leadership oriented, wear the blame if you need to wear the blame, and then just get back to work. So, yeah, who knows, man? You never fall in love with a lone player. And I'm not falling in love with him because I will say this season's just sucked all around, that there's nobody that I'm just desperate to keep.
By no means is he like world class, but he's definitely been a bright spot in a definitely dim light of a season that we've had. But I think you're spot on. I agree with you. I think he's someone, but I also agree with your sentiment of like, don't fall in love with a lone player, because I find it very hard that he's not only the team that he is on loan from wanting him back, but like I guarantee you he's probably not going to want to come back to St. Louis over playing in Europe. So I don't think it's stacked against us that we do retain him, but I agree with you. It would be awesome if we could, because I think he's a hell of a player. He can fit anywhere. I also think someone who's like getting a little bit more experience under him and some playtime under his belt and is looking good as Fall. Obviously a shutout against Montreal. Like you said, they're no spectacular team going forward. But still, a clean sheet's a clean sheet. And as a center back, that's just a confidence booster for you moving forward. So I'm excited to see him starting and getting some minutes. And then also just getting comfortable in that position, because I do think he could be someone for us in the future.
Yeah, no, that's a great shout, because there's really only 2 positions on the pitch right now that we know we will have next year, and it's our center backs, which is which is awesome. I would be so much more concerned if we were going through the center back roulette this summer, when we obviously will need some backup and some assistance, but my line going forward is Fall and Kessler. That without a doubt, I'm so comfortable with that pair.
And something that we haven't done that I hope we do with them is we let them grow. Like, I feel like we've switched it up so many times in the past where like, oh, this hasn't worked. Like, obviously injuries has a lot to do with that. But like, I think I sound like a broken record when I say this, but like, we haven't had a solid partnership for a very long time. So like, at least like, even if there is some bad games, like still sticking with them and trusting that they will figure it out. and building that experience, I think is going to be super important for them moving forward. Because I do agree with you. I think they're kind of the partnership that I want to see moving forward. And now I just want to see them continue to build experience with each other. Because in the MLS, I'm starting to realize that that's super important. Obviously, it's super important everywhere, but I think specifically in MLS, having a good partnership in the center back to communicate those runs, I feel like is very, very important for us moving forward.
Yeah. You are a broken record. I'm going to tell you that,
Yeah,
but it's
sorry.
your bit. But it's your bit.
Yeah.
No, you're like that whole thing you just said was 100% spot on. We've got a young 22-year-old from Europe who just came in next to an established American. Like that, you just play them, dude.
Yeah.
Just play them. This can be a preseason for those two guys alone. You're 100. You were spot on. Like that has been your bit. You're like, dude, we keep shifting, and I think the more I've watched it, the more I think you're right about that. So that's nice. Knowing that those guys are going to be here is super nice. Rest of the field, no idea. We got Sangbin, who's been fine. He's been admirable.
There's been games where I'm like, wow, this cat's good. And then there's games where I'm like, why did we sign him? So like,
I've seen the technical ability, like in the short amount of time that I've seen.
Agree.
At some point, that obviously has to become production. But and I totally may have completely.
We signed a lot of technical people of late. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of our attacking players that we've signed have been technical. Like, give me some speed, or give me someone who can freaking finish. You know?
Yeah, Jong's got speed and is technical. His finish was kind of lucky originally, but he was in the right place at the right time. We need more Salio bombs, bro. And even he can't do it consistently. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, what are we gonna do? Who do we have next? Sorry, I don't have them pulled up immediately, but it looks.
We have San Jose, and then guess who comes to town?
Say it.
Mr. Hyungmin Son.
Oh, are you excited?
On Saturday the 27th. I am geeked, brother.
Wow,
I don't even know. I don't know the reaction I would get from my season ticket section if I wore a Sun jersey, but I am genuinely considering it.
I 100% think you should.
I don't know.
That's my opinion. Like I'm thinking if I was in your situation, like St. Louis was playing. Oh my God, yeah, I would. Like Son, like he's a legend for your club. Like it's not like it's just some like random guy that you like. Like no, this dude's like a legend.
He's one of my favorite players of all time. I watched him play 7 years before we even had a local club.
You have to wear that, and if I'm you, I'm getting there 2 hours early and trying to get that bitch signed.
I'm saying, if you see me at the end of the game with all of the 12-year-olds on the side of the pitch and like holding out a jersey and a pen, you mind your business because.
Hey, if you throw some tickets my way, I might be able to get Riley to go with you. You get a for sure signed jersey on
that. Genius.
Even though that backfired on me with Weston McKennie, so
that's she tried her best. She
did try her best. But never ask a man for someone else's jersey.
No.
Don't do that.
That'd be tough.
Yeah. But yes, we do play San Jose next September 20th at 9:30 p.m. Geez, what a late start for us. Don't know if I'll be watching that one. We'll see how that goes. And then, like you said, Son comes into St. Louis. I'm actually going to probably look for some tickets. I have a feeling they probably won't be cheap, but I agree with you. I would love to see that man play. Especially because, like, I like seeing them. Obviously, he's past his prime, but like he just played for Tottenham, so like he has to be at a level to where like I can watch and be like, oh damn, like that's like somewhat of prem. Like obviously he's not what he used to be and peak Tottenham Son, but like definitely
he got a full preseason. Like my man's, he's in playing form right now.
Probably,
yeah. Scored last weekend. I'm pumped.
Yeah, that'll be fun. It's funny. I'm pumped for you. I think that'll be awesome.
I watched Hugo Lloris save one of our penalties in our stadium. That was the weirdest.
I remember your reaction for him. I can only imagine your reaction you're gonna have for Son.
Oh, it's gonna be better.
I love that for you. Super pumped. But not super pumped for City because they're probably gonna get their ass beat. But like
they might get pumped. Yeah.
Super pumped for you to watch. Alrighty, but moving on from the MLS, luckily for us, this podcast, we get to cover multiple different leagues in this beautiful game. And the main one I like to cover is the Premier League. And boy, did we have a spicy weekend. I'm going to start it off with some games that don't have any representation from the podcast as far as their clubs go. We had Arsenal 3, Forest nothing. And it's funny, I'm kind of happy Winks isn't on this one because I'm going to give Arsenal flowers here. They were very impressive. I was not expecting them to have the performance they did, considering the injuries that they have. Obviously, Nani Madwicki, I thought, had a great game. I also think it's hilarious. I went back. I've been doing this of late, Hoove, and I think you've been noticing, but I've been going back into our old pods and I've been clipping some of my receipts. And one of my big receipts that I had that I have stored right now for Mr. Nate Griffin is on one of our pods. I said, Nani Madwicki is just Saka if he was on Arsenal. And it looks like there might be some competition over on that right wing for Saka and Madwicki. So I just find that quite interesting that I got laughed at by everyone for comparing the two. But
that is still pretty cool.
Not here nor there.
We've got 2 games under our belt.
I'm just reminding you that the receipt is there, and when the Arsenal fans come running, that the dude's good, and that they knew all the time that it was a great signing from Arteta. He's such a brilliant genius guy. Like, whack.
That's a fair point because there was a petition to not sign him.
That's what I'm like. Absolutely not. I'm not having any of it. Also, I will say about this game, I don't know if you watched it. Ange's first game as Forest's manager. Boy, is he a lot different than what they've been used to. I don't know if you watched this at all, but they were pressing a lot, and them boys looked tired.
You said you were going to give Arsenal flowers, and I was going to say that I'm going to take a complete 180 and talk about the other side of it. Zubamendi's goal, laser beam. I'll give it that. That was a fantastic goal.
Also an own goal, but whatever.
It was a bomb. Yeah. To be fair, but. I'm telling you right now, I don't know if we talked much about this on this podcast, but Ange being the Forest manager, it doesn't make sense at all.
No.
At all, brother. Look at the team that he left with Tottenham. That was, even if you look 2 years ago, the team that went in top of the table at Christmas, or the what do we call ourselves, the October champions, that team was humming. That team had Mickey Van de Ven, it had Destiny, it had all of these speed demons that were kind of built for this style of football. And not even to the completest degree, but he implemented it well. He had a full preseason, all this stuff. Forest do not have those types. Outside of Alanga and Hudson-Odoi, we're not looking... Chris Wood is not he is not a pressing monster, brother. That is delusional.
You want to know something wild about Chris Wood? I have him on my fantasy team now. He might be on my trade block because of Ange being the new head coach. I'm genuinely nervous for his fantasy points moving forward. Because, he's not going to press. And then if he doesn't get on the score sheets, then Ange is just going to be like, all right, I need some fast dude who can press. Then you're probably not even starting.
Do you know what else Ange teams don't do? Set pieces at all.
Oh, yeah. So, I'm screwed.
Which, if we look at Forest, Forest 2 weeks ago was playing terrorism football, but it was built and styled to the terrorists. That, which is okay. And if you want to play a low block, mid block, and have, Ndoye and Odoi and Gibbs White, they even got rid of Alanga. I totally forgot that he's on Newcastle.
I don't think Alanga's on their side anymore, brother.
No, he's on Newcastle. That was no, he's even more screwed. There's just this Marinakis cat. I don't know. I don't really follow the issue that got Nuno fired. I didn't really keep up a ton.
I know it was internal. It was
internal. There was a falling out. We saw him, yelling on the field at him that one time. it just doesn't make sense from
Not
their
not at all.
perspective here. And you want to talk about the biggest Tottenham legend that there would ever be in Ange Postecoglou if he got them relegated? Statue. Immediate statue, bro. Like, I
Never
love
even
Ange. I
that
wish
never even
Ange
crossed my mind, but that is so true. If you
I
just like
wish Ange nothing but the best. But if they get relegated, he's an even bigger Spurs legend.
that's so
Everybody hates Forest. Everyone wants Forest to go down. I think
that's
everyone, for the most part, kind of likes Ange. This is it's just weird. I don't think this was a great decision on his part. I think he was itching to get back, but like, man, there's a
yeah,
lot to dig into on that.
he's in for a rough one. I also like, as much as we were just saying, they had a tough challenge in that Arsenal side in that
Oh
game.
yeah,
His first game, probably playing, in my opinion, like I said, I'm happy Winks isn't here. They're playing the best football in the Prem, in my opinion, maybe besides City. Like Liverpool's scratching at wins of late, but like Arsenal's dominating Forest. So like I feel like they're playing pretty well. So for Ange first game to have to deal with that, with a new side. He also like didn't he just get hired? Like he might have had like
yeah.
a week of training with these
Not
cats.
even. I don't
Like
even think he had a full week.
maybe a day or two. Like I bet you he didn't even know some of these dudes' names.
No,
Like
nope.
I'm not. I don't think we can judge him yet. I think he's got a little bit to grow with this Forest team. I also, you were right. I like Ange. Like I think he is a good manager. I think he's one of those people that is for the players and tries to like I feel like be buddy buddy with the players, and I like coaches who do that. And so I hope he does well. But like I said, this first one was yowza, yowza, yowza.
It was never going to be easy, but for him to even try that and try high line and try the high press 2 days into training,
I know.
insane. And that's
He
just who
found
they
out.
are, mate.
He found
That's
out.
just who they are, mate.
He found out.
Yep.
All righty, but moving on past them, we can move on to a team who is actually represented. We had Spurs West Ham. Spurs 3, West Ham 0. Boy, are they bad and struggling. They also got a red card during this game. I did not see the challenge itself. I also heard there was some horrific call by VAR on Romero that was like a penalty called back. Hoove, what are your thoughts on this one, though?
Yeah. It was a weird. It was interesting thoughts on a lot of it. One, 3-0 at West Ham. You're going to take every day of the week. It was their club final. They always get up for the Tottenham game. So you wanted to go and beat them. You want to beat every team, but specifically across the town. Yeah, I'll touch on that Romero call. So Mickey Van de Ven got pushed in the back and then was basically toppled over another player
Backpacked.
and backpacked, and they called that a foul as Romero tucked in a header off a corner. It was delusional. James Madison sitting at home on his couch with his leg in a compression machine, and he's tweeting about it. Like it was a joke. And I think that one thing Matt just pointed out was like the state of the VAR specifically in the last 2 weeks has not been great. We've had that Fulham and Chelsea goal that they literally came back and said they made the wrong call.
And the one this week, Chelsea and Brentford, that we'll get on to.
And I think that's a fair shot for the refereeing to be pretty poor at this point. But we do this every year, dude. Like at the end of the day, it's just is what it's going to be.
In the Premier League. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Wait, wasn't Spurs Anthony Taylor?
No. Anthony Taylor had the United derby, which.
Oh, you're right.
How on earth does he? Yeah,
keeps getting these like Category A games, bro.
He has blackmail, dude. You want to talk about another thing I'm gonna stand on, and you'll hear me like a broken record. Anthony Taylor has fucking blackmail in the Prem because he just
loves it.
Deserve to be a ref.
Loves it. You love that guy. So yeah, for one, what I was talking about, Ange teams didn't do set pieces. Thomas Frank teams do set pieces. So that's been nice to see. We had one called off early, and then immediately out of halftime, Sarboy scores another one. I'm getting high on him. I didn't know how to feel, but he's starting to do things that I'm loving as a young center midfielder. But gets on the score sheet there. It was a relatively simple finish. They really did not cover the back post at all. There was nobody there. He had a free header straight in. Xavi Simons also avoiding all 007 allegations in his debut. Fantastic. Love that. And then Suchek, to be honest, I kind of like Suchek. I think he's like, I think he's like this. He's that old style center mid that's a little bit too slow, but will absolutely lay a body and
Yeah.
likes to be up forward on attacks. I kind of like the guy, and I think he's a decent dude. He really just extended his leg in a tackle too far and actually cut Polina's cleat straight down the shin guard, which was like, damn, okay. He didn't have those tiny little cracker cushion shin guards. He had some real ones in because that man likes a tackle.
Metal stuff.
With metal spikes, and it was just a nailed on red. I mean, game over. Zero argument from Suchek, zero VAR review. You don't see those in the Prem much anymore. So from there, it was just comfortable. I think it was super great to see Bergvall get on the score sheet. He was great.
I think he's so good.
I think he's going to be really, really good. And it's my concerns on him right now are discipline and
Can you keep him?
positional awareness, I think. Well, if he's starting every week and starts, just racking them, then yes, I'm going to be concerned. But right now, but this one for sure, that just all comes with age and experience. You know what I mean? He's still so young. His goal was fantastic. Romero's passing range is absurd. Straight out of the back. I mean, it was also just calamitous defending, if you saw it at all.
He's on my fantasy team, so I was pretty happy.
Yeah, that's the clean sheet and an assist is some good points in fantasy, bro. And then, and he kind of accidentally set up Mickey Van de Ven, who is just sitting at the penalty spot for no reason on a build-up, which I love. I think that's fantastic. Love when Mickey scores goals. But really, I think the concern, if there is one, it's not super fluid in build-up yet. And I think you can crutch yourselves on set pieces like Arsenal have done for years. And obviously, there's a reason that they win a lot of games. You can win a game 1-0 on a corner goal, and that's still 3 points despite it being the worst game that you've ever watched. Luckily, we've only had one really miserable game to watch. So I think the offensive structure comes with time and more games and guys starting to gel. There's a lot of new faces in. But the defensive structure has been immaculate. 1 goal in 4 games is a nice defensive record, with one of those games being against City. So, I
think we've talked about it many times, and I think I talked about it even last year. When you guys are fully healthy, your back four and goalie combo, I think, is very, very good. I think you have, and I mean, theme of this podcast, center back partnerships. I think you have one of the best, if not the best, in the Prem. As much as I think Christian Romero's a wank, he's still a very good center back. And like you said, he has great passing range. And I think Mickey is so underrated when he's not hurt and he's fully healthy.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I think defense is going to be not a problem for you guys if you stay healthy, and hopefully you guys can still find the back of the net.
And
stay healthy.
Right, stay healthy is definitely the kicker. We've got more depth, I think, on the back line now than we've had in a long time, which is great. Jed Spence getting an England call-up and a cap. Brother.
Good.
I think he's a demon. I think he has locked his space on the left side over Destiny Udogie right now. He's just absolute clamps and loves to get forward and does both of them pretty damn well. So
he has some pretty big names in his pocket right now.
The Jed Spence Penitentiary. He's even posting about it now. It all starts out as just like a social media joke. The Jed Spence Penitentiary.
Someone likes to chat shit too.
Dude.
Social media is incredible.
He put up a picture of him tackling Bowen. And then the next photo was that meme of those dudes in Africa, and dudes just flexing with another guy in a headlock. It was just hysterical. It's like, and that's one of his. They were on English
They're
duty
on
together. Like
they're
they're
boys.
boys.
Yeah.
So good. I love guys that just like have fun with it, dude. But yeah, looking forward to it. Champions League will be a big ask this week. We'll definitely, we'll touch on that. But lot of changes, I would imagine, from Saturday.
Absolutely. Hey, 3 points is 3 points though. It's
3
always
points is 3 points is 3 points.
Yep.
Yep.
Shutout win is good. But good transition from people who are sitting players for Champions League. We can talk about Chelsea now. Chelsea 2, Brentford 2. This one was an interesting one for me, Hoover. I think it was kind of a litmus test for us / also a realization that maybe we need our dogs. The lineup that we put out, I was definitely questioning. I don't know if you saw it. Our back four.
Yeah, I didn't know some of these cats.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of depth starters. So pretty much playing obviously a couple of Chalobah, Enzo, Caicedo, and Zhao are probably the only starters that started for us. Neto, if I'm being honest, he kind of is a starter, but I would almost put Esteval over him at the moment.
Wow.
Maybe, but like he's definitely one who's on the fringe. We can throw him on there, but still, the rest of the lineup was definitely questionable. I also understand the mindset behind it. We have a very big Champions League game this Wednesday. We're playing a Brentford side that we think we can get 3 points, so I definitely understood. We obviously go down 1-0 early to them, and I was very, very nervous. I didn't like it at all, and I hate to say it, I was definitely, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would have thrown money on us giving up a goal after seeing the back four that we had. Tosin is not great in transition, and he was caught out once again on a transition goal. I've seen a couple of people scoring him in the same fashion, where it's a one-on-one, they cut on to their right, and then they score a goal. It was a great finish. By no means am I taking away from that player, but Tosin's got beat a couple of times on the counterattack. Cole Palmer comes into the game, immediately has an impact and scores a goal. It's his first goal in open play for a little bit. I think when he came on, he was incredible, and it kind of showed that the impact that he has. And if I think he would have started, this game would have been completely different. It was a great finish by him. And then in the 83rd minute, Garnacho comes on, provides, some people are calling it an assist. It wasn't really an assist. He kind of just threw it into the box. It ended up Caicedo. Caicedo finished and scored. I thought the game winner. We go up 2-1. I'm super pumped. I think we're stealing 3 points, and we're getting to rest some of our dogs. Obviously not. They score in like the 94th on a long throw, which I fucking hate.
Yes.
I absolutely hate. I'm not going to sit here and bitch because, yes, Chelsea has been very fortunate of some of the VAR calls of late, and I think this is definitely a questionable one. But he was for sure offsides. I don't know if you've seen it on the flick. I forgot exactly who it was, but one of their players was offsides, came back on. He didn't touch the ball, but he went for the ball, which caused Reece James to also go for the ball. So he was in an offside position affecting the play. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and bitch because I do think we should have defended it better. Garnacho left his man wide open on the back post for them to score. I don't think I've officially really talked about Garnacho. I think I might have in there, but I'm not pumped about him. I don't like his ego. Do I think he's a talented player? Yes. Do I want him in my side and in my football club? Probably not. There's not much I can do about it now. Do I think he had a good performance when he came on? Yes, he didn't look bad. He looked dangerous. But by no means am I sold on him. I don't want it to be kind of like what happened with United. I never thought he was that good. He scored that bike, and then everyone kind of thought he was the greatest thing to touch the earth. So I don't want that to happen to us, where we get all on our high horse thinking he's that good, and then we go a couple of months of him not producing for us, and then we think it's okay. So I definitely don't want to go down that path. I'm not sold on him yet, but obviously it's nice to have some options on the wing. I was not impressed with Gittins at all. Once again, I don't know if you watched, but Gittins was by no means impressive to me. I was hoping he would provide some spark for us offensively, and he did not. I also thought Zhao was a kind of a side character during this game. Like, he wasn't really
it's a good way to put it.
Like literally, he wasn't really in the game that much. He was almost like a computer player, and I think the fact that Palmer wasn't in there helping him out to be more of a
Yeah.
creative outlet kind of had an impact. But yeah, this one hurt because trying to prep for the Champions League and also get points in the Premier League is going to be hard for us this year. And I think it showcased that we may not be able to sit the dogs as much as we thought we could to get some points in the Prem. Obviously, a point is better than no points, but it still definitely could have been 3 points for us. And I think would have been big momentum for us coming into Wednesday.
So I've got a thought or two on this, and you may agree. Your guys' purchase structure from the last 3 transfer windows, you're targeting talented youth players, not youth players specifically, but younger talented players that have done it in different leagues. There's not, outside of a couple of those guys, I think João Pedro's got good Premier League legs, obviously Neto, obviously Enzo, Caicedo, Palmer, your spine of the team. Those guys are your leaders and your dogs now. When you were in the Conference League, it was so much easier to actively use those younger guys to filter in and play these lower level European games, but still get minutes in their legs, start to figure it out together. That is going to take it's going to take a full 180. You're not going to be able to play, what's that one? Mark Gu.
He's gonna play though. He's gonna have to.
Yeah, he's gonna have to.
Now Mark's gonna play, dude.
But Mark Gu against Bayern is not Mark Gu against
Hey, if they're playing Nico Jackson, dude, we might got a dangerous striker matchup here.
Brøndby and the Dutch league, I think that it's at some point in like a FIFA manager career, like a football manager career, it's like you obviously get all this youth and you play at a lower level, they start to get better. You still need guys that do it day in, day out for the Premier League, because the Premier League is every single day is an absolute challenge. So, it's weird now. Like, I think the objective was to get to the Champions League. The objective is to push for a title every year. You guys have spent more than enough that, you more or less have some expectations to succeed in that. But I don't think the player pool that you guys picked up is very, I think in 2-3 years, nailed on. Those guys are gonna be really good.
I obviously we're not in the board meetings. I don't know the structure of what their plan is. But I would like to think their idea is, like you were saying, we've been buying a lot of young, promising talent for the last 2 to 3 years. And now that I think we are in more substantial games like the Champions League, and we're fighting for top 4 now in the Premier League pretty much consistently again, I think we're going to see us building a bigger spine with a lot of those potential youngsters, and then continuing to ship out some of those side ones that we have. And I think they're going to continue to grow that spine as we see the team develop throughout the year. My thought on the Champions League coming in this year was I wanted us to prioritize the Premier League again, because I think there's a better chance of us finishing in the top 4 this year than us making any sort of run in the Champions League. That's me being realistic. I think the Champions League, we should still use it. Obviously, I don't think we should be playing all of our youngsters and nobodies like we did in the Conference League, but I still think we should be using it as like hey, let's build experience here. We're going to throw some of our guys out there against these big clubs so that they can build experience. If they put on a good performance, they put on a good performance. If we get smoked by Bayern, is anyone really going to be that upset? Like, I'm just happy that we're playing against Bayern again. Like, that's honestly what it is. So, like, the fact that some of these 20-year-olds are about to be playing against Harry Kane and some superstars, like, I'm pumped for that alone. I don't expect anything. I don't expect us to win the Champions League this year, so I do want us to prioritize the Premier League a little bit more. But obviously, it looks like we're doing the Champions League a little bit based on the lineup that we saw this year. That's why I'm hoping it was a litmus test, and it was like let's see what happens. And it didn't work, but we'll find out.
Ipso facto, you're drawing Brentford. Like, that just what it is. And anyone can tie Brentford. Anyone can tie Brentford. But yeah,
hey, undefeated.
What?
Said still undefeated though.
You can take that one to the bank, hang in the rafters.
Hang on the wrap.
I'm definitely interested to see your guys' game against Bayern.
Yeah, we'll see.
I
Do
don't
they
think,
sit? Do they sit players?
brother. They cakewalk the league with U18s.
You're not wrong. Nico Jackson played for them last game, and I was like, why
Yeah,
is he?
that was weird in my opinion. But
Okay,
different
moving
topic.
on. Moving past Chelsea's 2-2 draw to Brentford, we will move on to a team that once again is not another two games that are not represented on this podcast. Liverpool 1, Burnley none. Liverpool is back at the top of the table after this result. Late drama on this one. I don't know if you watched this, Hoove. It was so absolutely boring. Liverpool doesn't look dangerous at all moving forward. Obviously, Isak did not make an appearance. He is not fully healthy, or not fully fit. They're waiting for him to get some more training under his legs for us to see him. But they did get a late goal to skip or sneak away with the victory here. It was a penalty on a handball. It was very obviously a handball. It was on a cross that hit his hand that was extended out. It was super unfortunate. The Burnley player immediately put his hands in his face because he knew it was going to be called. Salah scored, and ghost of a game that Salah had. He, of course, gets on the score sheet like normal in the last minute. There was a chat or a photo going around, and I think either the Mecca or our podcast group message that was showing us all the minutes that Liverpool has played when it's been like a decisive goal could change the outcome. And it's literally like there's been like 15 minutes that they haven't been at that spot. So like they're very much like getting late winners for them to save them and get 3 points. But hey, that's what champions do. But like I said, was not impressed by them at all. You got any points on that one?
No, I didn't watch a lick, and when I saw it was 0-0 at halftime, I didn't turn it on because that didn't sound interesting to me. My issues with this are that Ekatike, my starting striker in fantasy, didn't do squat, and they've moved Soboslai to right back. So now I've got a right back taking up a midfielder slot in my fantasy team, which he doesn't get the same point differential. So that's so dumb. But no, end of the day, I think the stat was that Burnley hadn't let up a goal at home in like well over a year, in like a full season, right? So I think if anything, that's a credit to Burnley for holding out the champions as long as they did, and just really got hosed on an unfortunate stoppage time handball that Salah was obviously going to score.
I know the moment it happened, like I don't even want to admit this, but like every time in the 80th, 90th minute, I'll see Salah again and I'll be like, oh my God, he's been such a ghost. I didn't even realize he was on the pitch. Yep. And then I'll have this other thought that goes, Nick, why the fuck did you just think that? Because he's going to
do something. Yeah.
Literally, it happened again. It happens every week. You think it's over, and then the moment it was a handball, I was like, yeah, Salah's going to score the pen, and they're going to call him the GOAT, and here we go again.
But look, one of the greatest, I'll admit it, he's not aesthetically pleasing, but he's one of the greatest, and some of the greatest do that.
As long as you stay aesthetically, he's not aesthetic. He is not a fun watch.
No, he's scored some screamers. He scored some great goals. It just doesn't happen all that often, and he's just in the right place at the right time a lot of times. So,
yep. Alrighty,
one of the best.
Moving on to one of the games I really wanted to cover this week on this podcast, but unfortunately, the hosts that I wanted to be here to talk about it are not here. But I'm happy it's me and you, Who.
Is it a great week to be a United fan?
I think not. I really
think it's a tough one.
I think it's a real
tough week.
I think it's been a tough couple weeks for them. They just haven't really admitted to it until now. Like now they're officially like, yeah, it's bad. Like we're in a bad spot. I feel like they've had their blinders on a little bit I think literally, I'm not kidding. I think the Arsenal performance like fucked them because they were like, oh, we're gonna be good. They're gonna be fighting for the title this year. Like we have to be somewhat decent. And then this performance
that would buoy me.
Yeah,
to be fair, that would buoy me too.
100%.
I know where they're coming from last season.
Yeah,
We were a handshake away.
but for the listeners, City United, City 3, United 0. City looked dangerous. Holland looked dangerous. Phil Foden looked back to his
He did look good.
very creative ways. Bruno not tracking back on Foden's goal. A lot is going into this one. The big one I wanted to start with you, Hoover. I don't know if you saw Amarin's conversation or post-game interview where he pretty much was like, I'm going to die on my hill of this is how I'm going to play. And if you guys don't like it and you want to change, then you need to change the manager. I thought it was quite interesting. I also think he's kind of setting himself up for a leave that he takes on his own. But we could talk about that later as well. But the United camp, I don't think is going well. And I wanted to get your thoughts on where you think Amarin is at and if he has a job here in the future.
I think if anyone has any insight to a manager who refuses to go against his own values, I have a pretty decent experience with that. So
Maybe
but that's maybe yeah. Yeah, no kidding. It's always to a certain degree. You know, they brought him in. What? When did he come in? Halfway through last year, early part of last year.
It was like, I thought it was more towards the end of last year, but it might have been at the halfway point.
So obviously, you need to get players in.
Games, so.
Okay, you need to get players in that fit your style. He's coming in and playing something different. So that in the very least,
they spent a lot of money in the transfer window.
They got a couple guys. You know, I don't know defensively. See, you're right. It's interesting. At some point, you can obviously defend a manager for wanting to stick to his principles because that's what he knows best and that's what's been successful for him. And if he's going to stick with it, he's going to stick with it. You know, then comes the player buy-in. And I think there's definitely questions around that. Even after the Grimsby game, it was like he said another weird comment about how these guys just didn't want to do it. All of that said, I think the United guys would be more upset with the individual moments for the goals than the result as a whole. There was always a world where they got mollywhacked by Man City, but it was just how poor everything that led to City. You know, they're obviously going to pounce on that. Like that. That's who they are. That's the talent and skill level that Man City possess. You know, the sloppy giveaways at the top, in the middle of the field to just let and leave Holland 5 yards, between him and the next defender.
Boy, can he finish. Holy shit.
Gosh. Inevitable.
But just how pinpoint accurate he is with that is insane. Like, you know how many times he is insane. Jackson put that wide?
Yeah. Twice against Tottenham last year. I saw it myself, yes. I would say that they'd be super disappointed by the individual mistakes. And, Luke Shaw looked bad. Harry Maguire did not do himself any favors when he came on originally.
I don't think Bruno looked good.
No, Mano was great. And Mano's the one that Amarin. So that's where this all kind of starts to come into play. Like you've got this guy who's by his principles, and that's fine. He's kind of been backed in the transfer window on the front half of the field for sure. I think Dorgu is probably his pick as well, and a couple of these other guys. But you get them to do the style. Okay, so they get a win against Burnley or whatever, and they've got this style and system that kind of looks like it's back. But then the players aren't doing what they're expected to do. Like when does the blame go to the players? When does the blame go to the manager? Like I think he's both on the hot seat. I think for sure it's both, and I think Cunha's out for a while, so they're already kind of down. But him not playing Mano is, in my opinion, sackable. Like he is so good. And he keeps coming in and he keeps looking good. Like he's ghosted a game or two and he's gotten off the bench, but he looks
also great. Wanted to leave. He was like, get me out of here. I want
to play. Wants to play. Yeah.
And he said no, and then he comes in, still puts in shifts for you. If he doesn't start against us at the weekend, I am shocked.
I think a lot of people are are
You want
upset
to talk
about
about
that.
you want to talk about a possible 007, Mr. Sesko.
Yeah, the guy who ducked a
Jeez.
penalty against Grimsby.
Jeez.
I can't keep going. I got to keep going back to
Jeez.
that because it was just so insane. But
Yeah, how much
um,
do you spend on that guy and you're ducking a penalty? Yeah, sorry, that's insane to me.
I mean, striker's a very confidence-driven position. We've talked about this. Like he didn't come in with confidence. Like you want to be that
I was
guy,
gonna say
right? Like
you're telling me that let's say it's a Premier League game, someone gets fouled and you guys get a pen. You as the striker, you don't want that. You don't want to take
yeah,
that.
yeah. Like
That's
yes, I understand.
mind-boggling to me.
I understand Bruno's here, and Bruno's
Yeah,
his penalty record's great.
he
You're
has
gonna
to
let your
take it off
captain
your
take it.
hand.
Right, dude. Like that's insane to me. And then that also kind of filters into a coaching thing too. It's like
Yeah,
there's a lot of parallels, and they're going like this. Like Amarim's saying direction is this is what I want to do one way. The players aren't performing. The players go out, they don't perform, which you can see, and that's not 100% on Amarim at all. But it's like substitutions, decision making on his end, and then player decision making and their ability to follow through with their job that they've been tasked with. None of them are doing anything. Like it feels all very chaotic right now at United.
yeah. I thought it was very interesting that City just threw Donnarumma right in. They were like, "Come on, brother,
Dude, and
come
the
on."
save he made on
I know.
Mbumo.
Yeah,
Wow.
dude's good.
That's why you do it.
Dude's
That's
good.
why you do it. That's
Dude,
insane.
dude is very, very good. I will say
Really
though,
good.
I mentioned it on one of the pods. His footwork. He had a couple of they were pressing and he just dished it out of bounds because he didn't know what to do with it. So I think
Yeah.
that's something to take note as people play City throughout the year, and Donnarumma is their keeper. I'd be
I
interested.
think there's a we should make a stat for expected goal saved versus expected goal given as a keeper,
I
so
like
that you can track this one all season on him and be like, all right, what was that save worth his
his
hand over
four.
the ball? Right. Yeah, that's worth looking into.
Absolutely. But it looks like Manchester is blue as of right now.
And as of like a long time.
Yeah. Feel bad for the United boys, but that's just where they're at right now.
It's Manchester United. They'll be fine. They'll figure it out.
We say that, but I think it was JP. JP said 10 years.
I don't know, man.
I mean, he would know. I mean, as an Arsenal fan,
Yeah.
he would know. He would know what that drought looks like. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry to bring it up too to you.
That's okay. I broke mine. I'm
Yeah,
more recent with a trophy than that fool.
absolutely.
Either of these fools.
Absolutely. But speaking of a trophy that we are both involved in, moving on past the Premier League weekend, we do have Champions League games this weekend.
The
Can you imagine that?
champion.
It's actually crazy that
Pumped.
we both get to say that. It's been a little bit since we said
And
that.
I finished 17th.
I know, and that's
How about
crazy.
that?
Look
That's
what
awesome.
it reminds
Dude.
me of all of those memes of like the short little kid with all the tall people, and they're just like, "How did I get here?"
Yep. Ange changed my life, brother. Ange changed my life.
Well, lucky for you, you don't have to play Bayern first.
True.
So yeah, love that for us. That is who Chelsea drew in our first matchup. Is the good old Bayern at Bayern. I am not pumped for this at all, Hoover. I'm being completely honest with you. I really don't know what to expect. I do think, unfortunately, like this, I said litmus test on the last one. I think this is going to be a big tell on how our Champions League runs or our year is going to go, based on how well we play against Bayern. Obviously, I think Bayern's. I don't know if they're a favorite to win the Champions League, but they're always someone who does well in the Champions League. So if we lose to them, I don't think it's the end of the world. Like we're completely out of the Champions League. But I do think it's going to be a tough test for us. A lot of players on our side, this is going to be literally their first Champions League experience. So I'm very interested not only to see how they do, but I'm also interested to see the lineup. because I do think, unlike Brentford, we are going to play our dogs on Wednesday, and
Yeah.
we'll probably see a starting 11 in which Maresca thinks is our top. So I'm kind of excited to see who he plays. But yeah, I by no means am expecting any crazy result. I would be happy with the draw if I'm being completely honest with you.
Absolutely should be.
But yeah, we'll see how that one goes.
That one, I think. I mean, you guys look. You're not that far removed from beating PSG here, so you gotta give yourself a little bit of credit.
You're
I
not
think.
wrong. Not wrong. Preseason.
I do think Harry Kane is going to dunk on you guys. Your center back situation
Well,
kind of is a
we'll see.
feast. I think.
We'll see. I think Chalobah is our best center back, and I
Yeah.
hope that he will do well against Harry Kane. I also think Colwill being injured is a big one for us here, because I do think he is someone that I would trust up against Harry Kane as far as defensively goes. But also at the same time, what are we talking about? Harry Kane's going to Harry Kane regardless of who you are as a center back. So we'll see how we do.
I think Caicedo is your most important player in that game. You need a
Absolutely.
guy to lay bodies, set some
Caicedo is our most
tempo.
important player, I think.
Probably every game. Yeah.
He's Conte reincarnated. I could talk about him for hours. I think he is so freaking good. He's worth every penny that we paid in that $100 million. But yeah, we'll see how that goes on Wednesday for us. Obviously, you guys have Villarreal tomorrow. What are your thoughts on that one? Obviously, a little bit better of a draw than Bayern Munich, but not an easy competition by all means. They're in the Champions League for a reason. What are your expectations coming into this one?
I think it's going to be cagey. I think you play a Spanish team who are doing okay in their league. They're not going to want to give up a goal either. Our defensive structure is solid. I've said that, and you're going to see the same kind of lineup. I think that we fielded on Saturday, so there will be a little bit more experience as opposed to Tell starting up top, and I bet Bergvall doesn't start. I bet that's Bentancur's role, but I'm expecting good things, frankly. The all-white kits, bro, under lights is in a Champions League lineup is so fun. And there's kind of just an all-around pretty good vibe going with the team and the club at the moment. So really, for my first time in a really long time, I'm excited to watch Tottenham again. And you're right, Tottenham got one of the best draws, I think, as a whole, in the Champions League. Everybody else has got pretty rough ones. I think Spurs is the best, and my expectations are a little bit different than yours, Nikki, on this one. Okay. I'm expecting to go through in the automatic promotion spots. With the draw that we got and the team and players that we brought in, I think Kolo Muani might go 90 tomorrow, which is a guy who's got Champions League experience with Juve and these other teams. He's never really lit the world on fire, but I think he's going to be extremely serviceable and, is going to be a really solid addition to the attack that we finally actually have some depth for. So finally got a little bit of depth, finally got a little bit of young talent. We've got guys that have had Champions League experience before. We've got a great back line. These are all setting up for, and with the draw included, I'm expecting good things. I'm expecting a lot out of the team. So I think a loss at home first night in the Champions League back from last year against Villarreal would be really bad. I think a lot of people would be pretty upset. So, but I don't think that's a crazy thought. I'm just happy to be here. At the end of the day, this is the best.
Yeah. Love that for you, Hoover. I agree with you, though. I think your guys' draw is definitely favored for you guys to do something interesting, especially into that automatic qualifiers, like you said. I also think me and you should both enjoy a Heineken at least sometime this week, because we deserve one. It's been a little bit since we've been in the Champions League. Some of the other draws I did want to note for this week's Champions League preview, Arsenal plays Athletic Club. I think that'll be an interesting game. I'm very intrigued to see the lineup that Arsenal puts out. They got
Bilbao good too.
Yeah, we got Juve Dortmund, which is another good game. Madrid Marseille, and then Liverpool Atletico Madrid. I'm really pumped to watch that Liverpool Atletico Madrid because I do think Liverpool hasn't been playing the best of football and I'm pumped to see them against.
Dude, Atletico, they've got history together, Atletico and Liverpool, but two, they will jump anybody at any moment. They
I
may be
also
bad.
I need to look at their record at the moment, but I'm almost positive they're playing some pretty good football at right now. I
Ooh,
lied.
they're sitting at 11th.
I was gonna say I lied.
So, but again, a Diego Simeone,
Yeah,
Atletico Madrid
I just
will give you a shift.
Julian Alvarez I think is a baller. So
That is so good, dude.
yeah, we'll see. But pumped to be watching Champions League again. The Paramount Plus has been reinstalled. I have
Yeah,
account to watch the games. Super pumped for that.
I'm not going to the office tomorrow. No chance.
Love that for you. Absolutely love that for you. But that will wrap it up for us on this episode. As always, follow us on all of the platforms, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all the above. Like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, cheers. Appreciate you, Who. That
Yep.
was a great
Well
episode.
done, lad. Cheers, bub.
Cheers.